Grotesque. Some time ago, I used to work as a theatre technician in what was a converted church. The building itself was maybe 400 or 500 years old, and had sat empty for nearly a century, until some point after the Second World War, in which it was taken over by some wealthy art-loving aristocrat and made into the theatre that stands today. Either way, it was a pretty fun job, unsociable hours for sure, but I enjoyed it. More often than not, I was the last one out of the building. Where everyone else had family to rush off to, or a 30-minute drive ahead of them, I was only a short walk down the road and lived by myself, so I generally took it upon myself to make sure everything was off and locked up properly. Most of the time, I was out by 11ish anyway. The only thing that I didn't like about it was the grotesques. Now, I know what you're thinking, and no, I don't mean gargoyles. It had them too, but no, I mean grotesques. 3 of them, perched atop of the balcony of the main steeple. Solid and immobile demons, hunched over and staring down, like vultures circling their prey. Ugh, it creeped me out. As the year grew to an end and night fell quicker, I would look back on the building as I walked away, and watch as the moonlight caught on their cold stone skin, bringing their twisted and gnarled features to life. Now, the church was technically a listed building, so every few years it went under maintenance to preserve the structure as best as they could. It was after having a couple of weeks off of work when I came back to notice the grotesques had moved. Their position seemed to have swapped. It was weird because I didn't think they needed to do much to the steeple this time around. But who else could it have been if not the contractors? Yet it stuck to the back of my mind. And as time went on, more and more things began to bug me too. Strange noises late at night, a series of seemingly random violent assaults in the immediate area during the earliest hours of the morning. Heck, we even closed down for several weeks after a surveyor fell from the roof whilst checking out the tiling. Slipped clean from his harness. We had to have a full investigation about the building's safety. I think in the end though, they just put the accident down to faulty equipment. It wasn't until the night of November the 5th in which I swore I would move as far away from this damned place as I could. Now, if you were unaware, November the 5th in the UK is Guy Fawkes Night. I won't go into the semantics of it, but every year people all around the country light bonfires and illuminate the sky with fireworks. As it stands, we had had a huge charity event on during the day, and as such, it was already past 11 o'clock by the time everyone had started to clear out, and I was able to finish my last-minute checks. Even within the building, I could hear the distant echo of explosions as they rumbled in the background. Windows in dark hallways flickering with an array of colours. I had just set the alarms of the building when, as muffled as it was, that was the unmistakable sound of a scream, and it sounded nearby. I ran down the hallway and out of the front doors, frantically looking around. But there was no one. The road outside was empty. It must have just been a firework. That or I was imagining things. I took a moment to just stare into the night sky. Above all of the buildings, sparks of green, blue, red, and purple illuminated the night. It was kind of pretty. I turned to go back to work, and as I did, I looked upon the steeple and froze. Only 2 sets of stone eyes were staring down at me. Where was the third? The thud was deafening. Fear coursing through my blood. Panic flickering into my brain. I turned. The body of a woman lay crumpled on the floor. Limbs bent and broken from the fall. I turned my gaze to the sky. There, outlined within the glow of the fireworks, hovered a creature. Its immense bat-like wings flapping in the night sky, keeping it aloft. For a moment, I stared. And then the beast dove, and as it came, it screamed, and I turned and ran as fast as I could, the sound of fireworks echoing all around me as I sprinted through the park that led to my home, all the while keeping my head down, fearful that any moment those razor-sharp talons of the demon would sink into my back and carry me away. The police put it down to suicide. In my panic, I never locked the front doors of the theatre. Safe to say, I lost my job. I wasn't going to stay after that regardless. I returned to the theatre only once more in the following weeks, to collect the few personal effects I had left there before I moved back down south to stay with my parents for a while. As I left, 3 sets of stone-cold eyes stared down at me, watching like vultures circling their prey.